You're there everywhere.
Perfect. What's up? Welcome to a new episode of Movie Schmovie. This is episode number 470. My name is Steve, one of the co-hosts of the show, and as always, I'm joined by
Ron.
Cooties rat semen.
That's wild.
It's an anagram for too many secrets.
That's also John.
Yes.
What's going on, guys?
Nothing much in these days and times.
Oh wow. I like you've shifted into, I would say you've shifted into winter wear. That is the winteriest, coziest shirt. Or I guess it's more of a fleece, but it's like it's a fleece that pretends to be a shirt that's pretending to be a coat.
Yeah,
like it.
yeah, it's like a combination of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Good thing I didn't have my quarter zip. Am I right, guys? Shout out to the young kids out there getting in the quarter zips. You know about this? It's like trading your baggy pants for quarter zips, and like it's just stupid.
Oh my gosh.
It's such a stupid thing that's taken over the internet for a little bit. Yeah, funny.
What if your pants are becoming baggy just because you have old man butt, which happens to us all?
Yeah. Well, you look like somebody's kind of explained it as like a pit bull standing. It's like
Yes.
big body, small legs, just like we used to call it Tasmanian devil built women, but this is like Aaron and I used to talk about this Tasmanian built.
I forget which erotic thriller from the late 80s or early 90s it was, where Michael Douglas was naked so from behind, and you see his little old, like the beginning of old man cheeks, and it was the first time I saw that and suddenly became aware of it. And for some reason, I never thought it would happen to me. I've always had a little junk in the trunk, and I've always been sort of happy about that. But I've seen it start to happen, where it's like it's just I would have to I'd have to go to the gym and say to the guys down there, like, "Can you show me how to, maintain the cake?
Yeah. Hey,
I don't want to lose my hams."
Right.
But,
Lose my
it happens to all of us.
You got cake, hams.
There's
hungry.
There's an active bakery back there. How do we get this thing back up and running?
Yeah.
Let me say
It's like
first.
like you don't want you don't want to lose flexibility as you get old. You don't want to lose openness to new experiences. You don't want to lose your mental plasticity, your ability to adapt to new ideas, and you don't want to lose your thickness.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to. Shout out to the Megs out there, the Meg the Stallions out there. Am I right? The thickies out there.
This is going to be our best opening show banter
Yeah,
ever.
you've had at least 2 or 3 "Am I rights" already. Who's with me? Am I right? Get in, guys.
Who's with me, man? Oh man.
But yes, here we are,
Here we are. Present.
We are here.
episode 470.
Yeah.
Yeah.
470. We got John's required viewing pick. Ronald and I saw Wicked for Good. John's got some physical stuff to get down to. And I guess there's probably maybe a couple stragglers in there somewhere otherwise, but that'll be the episode today. So John, you want to intro the pick and let's get into required viewing?
Yes. Our pick for this week was 1992's Sneakers. There's my little background image. A film that I remember renting, and I remember where I was sitting in my home when I watched it, and I remember thinking it was good and the kind of movie that I normally would have caught in the theater. Like I saw it after the fact and was like, oh, that seems like one I should have been excited to go see,
Yeah.
And for all these years, I think maybe somewhere in the early 90s, somewhere in there, I must have sat down with somebody and said, you need to watch this. But I don't think maybe more than once or twice. I think this is yet another movie that I will make this comment about. And you either know what I'm talking about or you don't. But the beginning stages of what we now call Comedy Central. That's what the channel is still called, right? I forget whether. before it was Comedy Central, there was a thing called the Comedy Channel and there was a thing called Ha that was an MTV thing, I
Oh.
think. And somewhere in there, those things merged or somebody bought somebody, and eventually the Comedy Central channel was the only one that was left. But in the early days of, I believe, the Comedy Channel, they had certain movies they would play clips from, and they would play like scenes from them as though they were playing music videos. It was an attempt to kind of like take whatever limited movies they could show on that network and turn the channel into a sort of short attention span channel that you could tune into like MTV. And
Mm.
so they would show
Hmm.
like 2 or 3 minute scenes from comedy movies throughout the day. And you would notice it was a lot of the same movies that maybe they would get for the rights to for a little while. But this film was definitely one of the ones that they would show a couple of excerpts from in that context. The scene with Stephen Tobolowsky was definitely one that got excerpted and played like, oh, here's a classic comedy scene, you know. So
Yeah.
I remember that, but outside of that, I don't remember watching this movie much over the years, and so it was just one that kind of naturally fit onto my list of potentials for this feature. And then when Robert Redford died, I thought of all the movies that we could watch of his, and then yeah, I looked into a couple of them that I was really curious about, but there's problematic things, and I try to avoid that if I can see it coming. Uh, dated material. And so, yeah, this was the one that sort of felt to me like a surefire, fun rewatch just to see if it's as solid as I remember. But also, as I was watching it, I was realizing it's a kind of a light caper film
Oh yeah.
that is goes down
Tone.
so easy,
Yeah.
and so I feel like I think what I said last time was that I kind of enjoyed every minute of it, and I felt the same way this time. I mean, not like everything just worked perfectly, but I just mean the overall smoothness and the tone of it. For me, in some ways, maybe it's nostalgia for a certain kind of movie that you just don't see that much of anymore, or maybe it's just that style has changed to the point where a movie like this feels sort of leisurely and hangouty and character based by today's standards. But yeah, so it
Yeah.
was just an entertaining movie with a great cast that I wanted to watch again. And um, when I looked into it, I was not surprised at all that the script was by the same guys that wrote War Games.
Mm.
It
Oh
just feels
wow.
like another like kind of down the middle entertaining 80s film that also has a sort of tech spin that still feels somewhat current because there's a little bit of a philosophy behind the tech that's involved in the story. So it feels, like a smart light caper with you could not hope for a more likable cast, I don't think, at least by my, for me growing up the era I did. This feels like a super stacked cast. And I think like even seeing like someone like Sidney Poitier show up and sort of he's the cool guy, but he's also a little bit of a funny character just like everybody is in this. So yeah, that was my feeling about Sneakers. And like I said, I think it was largely redeemed by watching it again. I was like, oh yeah, I can totally see why this, especially knowing my tastes and my humor and the kind of adventure films and characters that I always liked. I can totally see why this film. I agree with my former self who really enjoyed this film back in 1992.
Mm.
Had either of you guys seen this movie before?
Yeah.
Bits and
Okay.
pieces. Bits and
Okay.
pieces. Movies like this, I don't know if I process very well as a kid. It's funny, like I'll remember seeing something. I'm like, yeah, I remember it, but anything that I saw before like 19, 18, 19,
1819.
yeah.
Holy shit, Ronald.
Yeah, I'm serious,
Are
man.
you an
Like
immortal?
anything I saw before 18, 19. Oh yeah, that was wild. Anything
You're like
before the
Pennywise.
year
I'm finding
18,
out.
19. And then you look on the like a picture at the Baltimore Museum of Art, and you see me like
There's a woodcut with your face in it, wearing that shirt. So it's like very, very distinctive.
but yeah, I think I'm a little honest with myself about processing movies at that age. It's not that I didn't enjoy them. It's not that I didn't see the good in them. It's just that my adult brain processed movies a lot differently. It just did. So yeah, I remember seeing it, but it means something different now. Like it's like watching this group of men, kind of come together and
And one woman.
in one woman.
That
Yes.
was that was what you did back then. You had to make sure that you had one woman.
Yes, one woman.
And she
And
has to use her sexual wiles at some point. That's the other thing. If
yes,
she's the woman, that has her power has to be being a woman.
I mean, she's gorgeous though. I
Oh no,
mean,
there's nothing wrong with that in the
yeah,
context of this
yeah,
caper. It's just sort of eye rolling when you go, oh
yeah,
yeah, of course that the woman is the one who's like the where she's most useful in the caper
yeah.
is like the seduction of the dork.
And she, the good part is she doesn't put it on too hard. Like
No,
sometimes they're like, you need to do what you got to do to get this key. It's like do anything, and luckily it doesn't go that far. And I feel like that probably was thanks to it being some older actors in it. I feel like Robert Redford and Sidney Poitier wouldn't. They'd probably be like, hey, wait, take it easy on what she has to do in this role.
right. And Mary McDonnell is also she's a kind of cooler than the room character
Yeah, yeah,
in
yeah.
most of this. So it's like it's not like
True.
that's all that she has to do. She
Right,
she
right,
does
right.
get to crack wise. And I like the way they just take over her apartment when they're all in hiding.
Yeah. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was like definitely one of those, John, you kind of mentioned it earlier, like feels like one of those movies that they don't make a lot of anymore. And I feel like we say that a lot about some of the picks that we make for this section of the show,
Hmm.
that whether they're a certain kind of genre or a certain like level budget film, but I mean, this is definitely like a stacked cast, with a movie that's moves really quick. It's got a really fun tone. It's not too serious, but it still has the caper element and some plot twists and even some like pretty cheerful moments and fun personalities in the characters that kind of keep the variety on the screen kind of moving quickly, and you can kind of bounce around from actors to actors or characters to characters or whoever they're playing. But I mean, the rewatch for me, I've always liked this movie a lot. I mean, I remember really liking it, watching it when I was like a teenager. And then, the rewatch, it's just you really just realize like how cool everyone in the movie is.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And, both for the time it was made and in their respective times whenever their like sweet spot is. But like for me, honestly, it's like seeing River Phoenix again was, a pretty special thing. I feel like anytime I kind of come across uh his filmography, whether it's intentionally or like I knew he was in this, but then watching it, I'm like, oh, he's, one of the main guys in it. And
And doing
I
kind of a character, like not playing
yeah,
like tortured poet. He's a little bit of like a himbo.
absolutely. Yes, and the fact that like his big, play at the end is like just to get someone's number.
Hmm.
It's like
Yeah.
I just really enjoyed seeing River Phoenix again. I remember that being like, him dying like the year after this came out was a pretty crucial moment like in
Hmm.
my teenage years. Like I was like kind of obsessed with him. And I mean, because he was in so many movies that I just loved growing up. And
Yeah.
for him to be amongst like such an adult cast, he was an adult as well, obviously. But I mean, I just feel like seeing him amongst these like iconic actors in their own respects, like Redford, Poitier, David Strathairn, Dan Aykroyd, Ben
Yeah.
Kingsley, like all these people that are just, you know, pretty amazing in their own respects. To see him slotted in there, um, I don't know. It was just like a really cool thing. Like I just loved seeing him on the screen again as an adult. Um, but yeah, that was like probably one of my big takeaways of on the rewatch was like I know all these actors, and especially because some passed away recently, like mentioning Robert Redford. But yeah, the cast is just so awesome, and even like smaller roles, like Timothy Busfield's in it, and what's
He's
his name,
great.
Donald Logue. Yeah, like these guys that were coming up then are kind of in their run then too, but kind of slot right into this caper. It's just really fun. But yeah, the River Phoenix element for me was like the big like surprise on the rewatch. Like, oh man, I kind of
Yeah.
was reminded of like what could have been with someone like that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I think I had fun watching everything that Sidney Poitier did in this. Like I loved
Mhm.
watching. He's so quiet and understated, and when he's like rattling off some of this stuff, his comic tone is so pitch perfect that he's playing a little bit of a dweeb
Yeah,
is
Yeah.
so great because he's still Sidney Poitier with all that commanding presence. But the second James Earl Jones comes in, oh, I guess spoiler, folks, James Earl
yeah,
Jones comes in. But there's like suddenly it's like Sidney Poitier and James Earl Jones are having a moment, but Sidney Poitier is playing a little bit like the kind of nerdy guy in that moment. I don't know. It was
sure.
just a fun little back and forth between those two. But I also noticed that like the way they play off of each other. Like it's fun to see Dan Aykroyd not doing it's like not being in like a spoof or a comedy or a
Right.
goof, but like playing the kind of guy he would kind of be, like not doing what he's done like in Driving Miss Daisy, where he's doing a totally different kind of person. And this he's kind of playing he's like a floppy haired like silly guy. Like he's like
Yeah.
a little bit more of a Dan Aykroyd got type, you know, especially down to the conspiracy theories and stuff. I mean, Dan Aykroyd has a lot of wacky stuff he believes in.
Yeah.
So, like when I love that moment when it cuts to him and I guess they're in the truck and it's Poitier and Aykroyd just standing there and it just and Dan Aykroyd just says cattle mutilations are up.
Yeah.
And Sidney Poitier is like, ah, but you feel like he's been listening to him forever. It almost reminded me of like Tim Meadows and Steve Agee playing off each other on Peacemaker, like two guys sitting in a truck and one guy's just making the one guy grit his teeth, you know.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, it's fun to see these actors doing that. And I felt the same way about River Phoenix, Steve. Every time I see him in something, I get this like, oh yeah, we have no idea what could have been
I
with this
know.
guy. Would he have been one of the, would he have been like Russell Crowe, where he like, or Marlon Brando, where he became like a totally different sort of guy in his older age,
Right.
or would he still be like out there on the front lines doing something interesting? Would he have disappeared? Would he be Daniel Day-Lewis? I mean, he was one of those actors that everyone sort of agreed was like magnetic and usually doing interesting stuff. So it's hard
Yeah.
to picture like you want to picture just an older version of that guy, but like
Totally.
we have no idea what kind of roles he would have grown into. So yeah, I think that we were sort of robbed, so to speak. Of, I mean,
Totally.
obviously human tragedy is the sad thing, but the it's hard not to kind of when you get reminded of just what someone's on screen presence was, and the fact that right
Totally.
he's not playing. This is one of my final roles, so I'm gonna put my heart and soul into this. He's doing like the sort of light tone that this thing calls for, and it's really fun to see that. And I mean, there's horror stories on the set. I've never heard of any, but this
Mm.
seems like a chemistry based production. It seems like people are getting along on set. Like it feels like there's some of that energy. Like you sense that Robert Redford is sort of delighted to have this crew. Like he
Yeah.
loves playing off Sidney Poitier. I feel like you can just feel it in every one of their
Totally.
interactions. And Robert Redford, is so low key. I mean, I love how unflappable. Like when he's really mad, he's like, "I can't believe you did that." He's just so underplayed. And I don't know that whole Golden Boy thing. Like this was when he was like at that kind of like right at the peak of that level of charm as an actor in some ways. So yeah, it's fun to see and be reminded of what that kind of star power really is. And Ben Kingsley feels a little bit more like he's doing a character role in this, but I thought he really made an impact. And I think that his final moment, their scene together, the kind of love between those two characters, where Robert Redford sort of knows that Ben Kingsley's not gonna pull the trigger,
Yeah.
but he also is open to it, like it might happen, and like you see that he kind of calls him on it. I also wanted to say I think a lot of these moments, the reason they hit for me, I think James Horner's score was pretty strong in this. Like it feels a little bit
Mm.
like 80s movie kind of jazzy piano, do 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 kind of stuff. But when it gets into these emotional moments, there's this stuff happening underneath it that gives it this sense of like because what score can do is take a moment like that and make you go, "Oh, this movie in some ways is about friendship," and you go, "Wait, no, it's about these two knuckleheads." But it's like, no, the score's making me feel like this is a
Yeah.
moment about something, you know. And I think that like that there were moments where this movie felt really powerful. I think emotionally to me, and I think a lot of it has to do with the James Horner score. That's no surprise. The guy's a, you know, did he die?
Nice transition.
No, I didn't know whether to say is or was a very talented composer. I mean, a lot of times I think of him
He
as kind
did.
of as like
Well, actually, I don't know.
a
Did he?
soft imitator of the greats, but I do think that there was something about the score to this that felt really like not just competent, but it felt like
He
it was really
did.
helping that he did.
Was. He did.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
did.
20,
That's what. So,
2015.
are you
Yeah.
saying he did or he did?
He did.
He
Initially,
did.
I said he did, and then it was a he did.
Oh,
He
he did.
did. He
He
did
did.
He
dead.
did die, and
He did.
hence he did.
He did
Yeah,
dead.
he did.
No, his run is. I mean, his list is pretty.
Yeah.
I mean, just I'm scrolling through it now. It's kind of ridiculous. Like the run he was on, like in the mid late '80s, early '90s. It's kind of insane.
It's like all the jobs that John Williams didn't do
I literally,
that you thought he might have done
you
are
thought it could
James
have been
Horner.
him. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like, yeah, American. Yeah, like you got American. I mean, I'm just again read some here. 48 Hours. Let's see. Commando, Cocoon, Aliens, Captain EO, Batteries Not Included, Willow, Field of Dreams, also same
Yeah.
director.
Yeah.
American Tail, Land Before Time, Rocketeer, Sneakers, Jumanji, Casper, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. I mean,
Yeah.
insane. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
And many of those are films where I think watching them, I feel the score. Like some of those you would go, oh, those are probably is a movie with kind of a sappy score, and you might be right. But like some of those are ones where I remember watching them, and like I remember Batteries Not Included having some really good
Oh
score
yeah.
moments. I
Mm.
remember Cocoon. You said Cocoon, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cocoon, I think, is really
It's
strong in
great.
the score
It's great.
department. I think it has a really memorable. I mean, I can't hum it off the top of my head, but I feel like it has a really memorable score in it. So,
And that's not even getting to like Braveheart, Apollo 13, Titanic.
oh, Titanic,
Jesus,
yeah.
man. Beautiful Mind. Yeah, like just
I mean,
amazing.
not that
Amazing.
that's even one of my movies, but like that's one of the hugest movies ever, period. So it
Oh,
is sort of a,
totally.
yeah.
Avatar. Yeah, I mean just massive, massive movies.
What we're saying is a real pro, this James Horner.
Yeah, he made an impact for sure. And yeah, you can listen to these movies and yeah, he definitely kind of can pick up on some of his scores. Um wow, yeah. This what a filmography.
Um, one other thing I want to mention about this, and surely I can't be the only one that thought this. Robert Redford's character is named Bishop, Martin Bishop, but they all call him Bish. So often it sounded like they were calling him bitch. So often he would say, "Hey Bish," da 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 da, and then like Robert Redford would just come in and answer the question. And so often it sounded like I was like, "Oh my God!" It's like,
Hey, Bish.
yeah,
Oh,
swish
Bish.
swish Bish.
Oh, Bish.
But it was always what's his name, Whistler. It was frequently David Strathairn was the one who was saying that, and so it's that was a character who's like, "Oh, this guy's not a mean guy at all. Why is he calling him bitch?" Um, but he was fun. He was great. We haven't really mentioned him yet, but he was really, like I like how credible they made that idea. That I mean, it was a little bit of the sort of, oh, he's got daredevil hearing because he's blind. It was a little bit of that. But I think they did create. I mean, like he had a little braille machine in front of him, and he was
Yeah.
even reading the articles in a Playboy issue and stuff. Like there were certain things that were they weren't just playing that as a joke. And I do think his competence shone throughout the movie. So it's like it's not like they made him super powered. And I guess maybe the scene where he had to drive the car was a moment where they kind of made sure they weren't doing that in a way that they weren't making it so that he's like a Zen master and he didn't quite him driving the car was a like I love Sidney Poitier seeing that was happening and kind of you know playing the scene to his advantage at that point. But
Yeah.
so yeah, it was cool that everyone in the crew got to do their little thing in that sense. Any other thoughts, Bishes?
Nah, I mean it's just a fun movie, man. It was a good rewatch, good choice.
Just on the subject of the late great Robert Redford, do you have a favorite pick?
Oof. Man, that's tough. Let me think here. Mm,
Ronald?
Butch Cassidy. I mean, that's the
Yeah,
one that comes to mind. That's the one that was like,
on the tip of your mind.
yeah, I was like, oh, that's the guy. You know, you see a person, like, well,
Oh, when I was a kid, yeah, that made a huge
yeah, like
impression on
it's
me.
this is the guy. Like it's something about him, and yeah, yeah.
I don't know, man. I think two movies come to mind like right away for me, and it's The Natural,
Hmm.
just being like a baseball kid growing up and the reputation of and this, the scene, like I don't know, the bat, everything is just like magical in terms of one of my favorite sports movies of all time.
Yeah,
And he's just amazing in it. But a later movie, and he's not even in the well, I guess I won't even mention it. He's not even really in the movie, but his narration is like amazing in it because I don't really love tons of narration. But he narrates A River Runs Through It
yeah.
with that's the Brad Pitt movie, which I love that movie, but his narration is just great in that movie. But I don't know, I would probably have to go with The Natural. I mean, that's the one that always comes to mind first. Um, Yeah, I mean, geez, amazing.
Yeah, the those are all big ones. I mean, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid was a big movie in my house, but the other one that was a big movie in my house that like I feel like everybody agreed on was The Sting.
Yeah,
And I saw him in that a lot. But we were sort of a Robert Redford household. Like we watched whenever one of his movies would be on HBO, we would watch it a few times throughout the month, and we would tape
yeah,
it and maybe watch it again and again. And so I think, that was one of those. I mean, he was a huge star, so I'm sure a lot of houses were Robert Redford houses. But I mean, like I remember it was one of those people that we seemed to all agree on. Like my dad, for the most part, you know, was a little bit of a movie snob about certain types of movies that my mom liked, but I think he agreed that Robert Redford was cool. So
yeah,
Mm.
that when you're a kid, you grow up with that example of like anybody that both of your parents like. You're sort of like, oh,
yeah,
that person must know what's going on. And he did turn out to be a guy who sort of kept the faith and pretty much held true to some concept of knowing what was up throughout his
sure.
life. So a person who actually made an impact, outside of just making movies.
Yeah,
Which I think affords, don't you think, for like the political bent of this movie, like the fact that this movie has its own little political jabs and
for sure.
they're all sort of
Yeah.
left leaning. That felt good. Nikki heard me cheer from the next room when the movie was over, and she said, "What?" And I said, "The good guys won."
Yeah.
Such a
That
rarity in these
that
days.
that's fun that's a part of the tagline too, isn't it? Like
Hmm.
for the movie, isn't it? Like it doesn't it list their like
Oh,
what
it
they all
does.
are, and it says like, and these are the good guys or
Oh,
something
okay,
like
that's
that.
interesting.
I'm pretty sure. Let me find it real
That's
quick.
great.
I feel like I remember that on the poster. Yeah, it says the tag or the little tagline is a burglar, a spy, a fugitive, a delinquent, a hacker, and a piano teacher. Dot dot dot. And these are the good guys.
That's a great
That's
tagline.
that is.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, they're sneaky. You know what? They're not sneaky. They're sneakers, wouldn't you say?
Mm,
Yeah, definitely sneakers.
Yeah.
connect the dots. La 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 la. There it was.
Luckily, there were no scenes of them like all putting on the same tennis shoes or something like that. That would have made it, too
Oh,
cute.
sneakers.
Well, all right,
All right, what's
Ronald.
up next, Ronald? Your choice.
Yeah,
It's time
man.
for your pick. Because
Um,
your pick is next. Your pick is next. There you go.
um, when you add boiling water to some eggs, hard boiled, and when you add chow yun fat to a John Woo movie, also hard boiled. So I'm going to present to you guys the 1992 action film Hard Boiled. And I'm picking this for a very specific reason. There's a scene that I thought for years was Chow Yun Fat going from level 4 to level 5 or one level up. And what I found out was were hundreds of people moving furniture to make it appear as if you went to another floor. And this
Oh.
shift was done through just movie magic. And
Wow.
Oh my
apparently
God.
quite a bit was done. And it's like it's a one shot. So it's like, I don't know how they did this. He's like shooting people and then it goes to, but this is one of those movies that just feels like kinetic in a way that I haven't seen it in a really long time, but I remember my friend Todd was really into John Woo, and he's like, when the doves fly, the people cry, and I was like, what are you talking about? He showed me all the doves and just the shooting nonstop, and then like it was one of the few movies that I saw that just had like old ladies would be walking through and just catch strays. It just was. It's an insane movie. So Hard Boiled is my pick. And the cool part is it's also on Tubi, so for free.
And Plex.
Ooh.
It's at a,
It's also on Plex for free.
oh, cool, cool, cool,
Yeah.
cool, cool. Um, yeah, yeah. So that
Cool.
is my pick, John Woo's Hard Boiled. I wanted to get something action packed. I was gonna do Hollywood Shuffle, but I'm like, man, I would love to see a couple people get kicked in the chest and or shot.
Shot through the chest.
Yeah, shot through the chest.
I've never seen this.
Oh man.
I'm
I feel certain that I saw it at some point, but it might have blended with other John Woo.
yeah. I've seen
But
clips.
I feel like this is one that I definitely would have sought out because it was one of the movies that got name checked nonstop
All the
when he
time.
was kind of,
Yeah.
coming across the pond, so to speak.
The movie was so good that they made a loose version of it called Stranglehold on PlayStation that kind of played around with the tropes of this movie. Like it was a whole video game where Chow Yun Fat slid down poles and shot sideways and yeah, really cool. So
Cool.
hard boiled
That's cool. And that'll be for 2 weeks from now
2 weeks.
because we are
Yes.
going dark for Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Yes, this is your I guess this is like an early Thanksgiving episode special.
Yeah. Yeah.
We should just do it that way. Make it sound like we're getting in early with our Thanksgiving special, which makes it sound like we're doing something proactive rather than doing something anti-active, such as not having an episode.
Yeah. That's how you do it. You get ahead of it
Yeah.
so you don't look like an asshole.
But you don't then talk about the plan to get ahead of it on mic and then also have forgotten to get ahead of it. So
That's what villains
better luck
do.
next year.
That's what villains do.
They do. They start talking about their plan when it's already starting to fail. Yeah.
I've
That is
poisoned
exactly
the
what
water
villains do.
supply. I poisoned the water supply. There's no way you can get to me because I'm right here in front of you and the water supply hasn't been muddied yet. But you can catch me, but you won't because you're stupid and I'm smarter than you.
And that's when you find out you're talking to a hologram of the hero and they're already down at the reservoir.
I
And you
love,
might even say curses, you're foiled again.
yeah, I love that trick where Tom Cruise takes the mask off at one of the Mission Impossibles, where they had like the news happen.
Hmm.
It's like,
Well,
man,
so speaking of Mission Impossible, Sneakers did it first. The room where you have to raise the temperature
Oh yeah.
and move really slow so that you don't set off all the shit. That was a or was it the same year? When did no, that's before because I think the first Mission Impossible movie was 95 or something, right? 95 or
yeah.
96?
Congratulations to TC for his honorary Oscar, man. Did you,
He
you
got
guys
one.
see?
Yeah, I saw that.
Man, I got emotional watching his speech. It was really good.
Did he thank Xenu at any point? And did his eyes glow at any point? I'm just wondering.
Oh man, no, he didn't.
Okay, good.
That's the part that got Ronald emotional.
Yeah,
Well, once you go clear,
yeah. Once
you
you go
know,
clear,
those thetans are gone, and you're ready to embrace the joy of life.
no zigzags on that meter. You go clear on that bitch.
Well, I will go ahead and go physical,
Yeah,
unless Ronald,
go
did you
for it.
have to grab something? Were you going to go physical as well, or you got?
Yes. Let me grab
All
it.
right, all right. He switched off his camera. Bum, 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 bum. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Mhm, 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 mhm. We'll be right back, folks, with Let's Get Physical on Movie Schmovie.
And we're back. Sort of.
And this thing didn't follow me.
Deep,
Jeez.
deep, 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 deep. All right.
Okay.
All right. So you're ready to go physical. I'll go, and then you'll go.
Yes.
So first, I will just say, remember when we covered and we didn't love the show, but my like Nathan Ballingrud, the horror writer, had the show. I can't remember the name of the show, but his book was called
Yeah. The anthology
uh
thing.
Yes, it was called North American Lake Monsters was the name of the book.
Oh wow.
Anyway, he's a great writer. He might be one of my favorite living writers. I think he definitely is. It's just that list is probably pretty long because I like a lot of folks. But Nathan Ballengred has like a style all his own, and the way he writes when he goes deep, weird fantasy horror, it's just so inventive and so crazy and yet so emotional. And he has last year and this year put out two novellas that are part of a trilogy. So next year we get the third part, which is called Kingdom of the Conqueror Worm. But the first part was called Crypt of the Moon Spider, and the second part was
Wow.
called Cathedral of the Drowned. And these are like short, around 100 pages novellas, but they're like deep, weird sci-fi horror. It's like set in an alternate 1925 where people
Oh
have already had space travel for like 150 years. Like things got
Wow.
advanced sooner. So it's like almost like not steampunk, but it's like a future past kind of thing set in 1925. So the tech is weird and different, but it's as though people have been colonizing the moon and other planets nearby for 100 years or so, maybe
mm.
less. I don't know exactly how many years there's been a space program, but they're just so bizarre. And there's these moon spiders and these weird people that worship them. And then there's the moon silk gets brought home and sold. It's like a drug, but it can also have like medicinal uses. The moon spider silk that they make from their webs, and it's just but it's like it's bizarre from the first page, and you're deep into it, going, no one like sentences that just couldn't exist in any other story. And I've heard Nathan say, I've met Nathan. He's a great guy, most mild mannered guy. It's amazing that he writes this demented stuff. But I've heard him say that he feels like he's really kind of letting his freak flag fly with this trilogy. It's called the Lunar Gothic trilogy, and the third one comes out next year. So I mean, it's like in the end it'll be like a full novel length. I'm sure someone will collect it. But as far as just watching someone's style kind of grow and then have this point where he seems to be just having so much fun, yeah, Nathan Balagrod's part one and two of the Lunar Gothic trilogy, they're out and they're both great. And the other thing I wanted to say, it's also a book, but this is related to the movies. I indicated this last time that I might enter into a phase of Frankenstein studies. My first active Frankenstein study is to read Frankenstein, which
There you
I've never
go.
done before.
Oh wow.
But this book I want to say is significant because Netflix has a fucking like logo on the cover,
Oh.
which is
When
because
you
it's a
touch it, does it
Netflix.
go cocoon?
It just should. It should go cocoon. You can't scrape this off. This isn't a sticker for some reason. But the reason why I wanted to point out this edition is because this edition is an older edition. It's hard to find like a really well printed edition of this anymore. But I think it's cool. If this is sort of the Netflix tie-in book, I think it's cool that they went with this version because it's got illustrations from uh, super influential and really just amazing comic book artist Bernie Wrightson,
Oh
who
wow.
illustrated. If you ever saw the Creep Show comic book that came out, that was a tie-in with that movie, or if you ever saw the illustrated version of Cycle of the Werewolf, I believe is the name of it. It's a
Mm.
Stephen King book. Came to be known first for drawing Swamp Thing, but he was a very influential like horror comic artist. And if I'm going to say if I can get it up close where you can see the sort of quality of the illustration there, so it's like
Nice.
it's really amazing stuff. His line art is beautiful. The one problem with this book is it's printed on not so it's like cheapish paper, and so a lot
Mm.
of the illustrations where there's this intricate like cross hatching, they kind of close up and you end up with just blackness, on the page. So it
Mm.
would be great if someone would reprint a version of this on nice paper so you can really appreciate all the intricate line work in there. But as it is, it's a beautiful set of illustrations for this book that I feel like I know everything that happens in it, but I've never read it. So I'll be reading Frankenstein, and hopefully next time I'll be able to tell you the next part of my Frankenstein studies project. There you go.
Mm.
I just got physical.
You got
I'm
physical.
recommending people check out this edition, but let's see if we can figure out what can we put over the Netflix logo that really does seem like it just does not vibe with the rest of this cover at all, does it?
No,
Anyway,
no. Oh, it's my turn.
it's your turn. Ronald gets physical. Down, down,
Uh,
down.
yeah, happy 40th to Back to the Future. I was in Frederick. I stopped to a physical media store. I said, record, they changed the name. The record exchange is the name of it. And I stumbled upon the trilogy. If I
Whew,
can put it in. Normal price,
close to your
like
heart.
yes, normal price like $60, $70. I got this for $30.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm gonna watch the shit out of this weekend. Very excited. And it comes with both Blu-ray and 4K copies. And if you have a digital copy of the Back to the Future, anything on like iTunes or Amazon, new stuff came out for the 40th. So
Oh,
you get new content, like new
Awesome.
interviews, new insider information, So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
what a classic.
What a classic. I say one and two. I don't know. Three.
Well, I'm referring really to the first one when I say
Oh,
classic.
oh, the
But
first one is like
I like the boldness of
so
the second one being
me
such a
too.
complicating thing so much, but it's
Yeah,
almost meta how much it deals with the first one. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
yeah, for sure.
it doesn't, I don't know if it's, I guess in that sense, I'm saying I don't know if it stands alone the way the first one does as just a perfect little movie that just about anybody, when I was growing up at least, it seemed like everybody kind of agreed on it. You know, you could,
Yeah,
it's another one
yeah.
you could watch with just about anybody.
Yeah.
So
What's next? Wicked?
yeah, Wicked for Good. You guys saw it? I did not. I've
Wicked
seen a
for
lot of
good.
I've seen a lot of online debate about whether it should be called a sequel or not, and I feel like it's splitting hairs a little bit. I know it's
Mm,
part two of an intended story, but I do think that definitionally, a movie that follows up another movie and
yeah.
continues the story of it is a sequel to that movie. But the sequel can be part two of one big story. I'm to understand there's a lot of it feels like it's one of those things. I'll compare it to the fandom of Mrs. Taylor Swift in the sense that it seems like fans of these movies don't want people to not be fans of these movies. And so if you say
Mm.
you aren't, they get into like a semantic debate with you about whether you understand it. But the
All right,
premise
right,
I'm
right.
to understand is that some people just don't like the second half of this play as well as they liked the first half of this play. And so there was some concern going into the movie. How are they going to kind of juice it up and not have the sort of problems that a lot of people feel that the play has, which is that it's front loaded with the best songs and the best
Yeah.
stuff. So I guess that would be my one thought as someone who hasn't seen the first one and hasn't seen the play, but knows, roughly from the what I've heard about the book, kind of what the story is. So yeah, how does it hold up to the first one as a follow up, as the sequel, and also just yeah, Ronald, what did you think? Was it
It's
for
no,
good or for bad?
it's no Wicked. But that doesn't mean it's a bad movie. It just yeah, I mean, I didn't want to feel like, oh man, the it's front loaded. The first half songs are better than the second, but I mean, I really did enjoy the first half songs more than the second. But where this was a Alphaba first half, this was a Glinda second, which was really cool to see Ariana Grande's character get a little more shine, and she was just kind of a wonder in it, and watching everything come together was really cool. I think the two of them have this immense chemistry that I kind of want to see them in another thing together, and hopefully they'll re-release this as the whole Wicked Affair or something like that, and just put it out as one long movie. But yeah, it's as a second half of a great movie, it's not quite as strong in the way that just I don't know. There's a different feel to it. It's a lighter, calmer, fun thing. Whereas you get it into like the witch melting and things like that in the second half, there's death, and I can see how a little kid could come into the first half like, oh man, this is really fun, and in the second half, feel like so many people die in the second half. You know what I mean? Like you can really be traumatized by that, particularly if you don't know the Wizard of Oz. Like it could be one of those things. And the roots of how these characters become who they are doesn't just stop at Alphaba and Glinda. I don't want to give anything away, but there's more explanation for the bigger world. and seeing that stuff kind of play out is rough. And it's kind of hard as a movie that had the tone of the first half to bring that into the second when you're dealing with so much of the shift in the tone. It was delivered well though, and I don't the problem is I was warned like last year, oh, you're gonna cry your eyes out the second half. And I found myself not crying my eyes out. And I cried my eyes out the first half. I found myself very much attached to the first half. So
How long did it take for your eyes to grow back the first time?
it took a while, man. They started off these little white peas, kind of like, little mouse nuts, just kind of hanging out of my
I
eyesight.
was just when you said little white peas, I was gonna say like mouse nuts.
But yeah, it took a while. But yeah, it wasn't quite as emotional for me as I was warned. But
Hmm.
solid. Ariana Grande's amazing in it. So I mean, and so is geez, why can't I remember her name right now?
Cynthia Erivo.
Cynthia Erivo, aka can't remember anything right now. And I just said her fucking name 2 seconds ago. It's just because it's late, man. That's all. Alphaba. Yeah.
Steve.
Yeah. What's the name of the movie again? Oh
What's it?
yeah.
What's it called?
No, I mean honestly, like I think I'm pretty in line with everything Ronald already said. I don't know to add a lot to it, but I mean I think in general it doesn't feel like it gets as it's able to kind of get as high as the first one did, and I think it's really a and to your point, John, it is something like having seen the play. It is the kind of thing where the first act or the first part of the play is it feels a little more front loaded in terms of the excitement. Even the tone of the songs are kind of based more in um like inspiration and positivity and like optimism and
Hmm.
just tonally different. And
Right.
I think that the jump in time that takes place in the movie, even though it's kind of really subtle, but I mean it's at least like 3 5 years it's supposed to be difference in time, from when Wicket ends, just in the simple point of like seeing a lion cub grow into a full lion and seeing what like Fiero and Glinda's like rise in the political ladder of Oz. But I think, where this movie takes place, the themes are definitely different. There's a bit of a burden on everybody in the movie. And I think that the songs really kind of play into those themes, but the songs are a little darker, a little more bleak, a little more sad. Um,
Uh,
you know what I mean? And you know, uh, like the bigger songs like No Good Deed and obviously For Good, they definitely stand out and are some of the stronger songs that were and are, in the film and in the play. But um, I don't know. I just kind of felt like I left the movie a little just I liked it, like I didn't love it like we talked about last year. Like Ron and I like were both over the moon for the first part. Um, But that said, like the performances are really great. I do think Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo are really great in it. There are some scenes that are kind of like a little odd that maybe more direction wise or script wise are a little weird. But um, one thing I did not love about it, I thought Michelle Yeoh was not good. I mean, I didn't think she was that
I
good, and
I
I didn't
didn't want to
think.
hate, but
I mean,
man,
I gotta say, because I was talking to Aaron about it the other day, it like really sat weirdly with me, and I've seen a lot of people talking about this online, and I mean, like, I don't know if it's miscasting or like just the little bit of singing that she does in the movie is really not good, and even the performance, I think, I mean, and I think she's a great actress. I mean, I think she deserved the Oscar that she won. Something just didn't match up, and it really was made very apparent in this in For Good in this film. Because I guess she was given a lot more in this movie to be on the screen and to kind of participate in the main plot. But
mhm.
I don't know. It's weird. Like I just felt like I don't want to say it's a letdown because I mean I know the story and I know where it was going. Um, but I just felt like some of the direction, some of the production started to feel a little kind of like played out, I guess, to me. Like I don't think it like grew in scope like I thought it might, especially seeing different areas of Oz or different elements of Oz that we didn't get to spend a lot of time with in the first one. I mean, the movie kind of starts on a note that is pretty exciting. And I don't think it really kind of capitalizes on that. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's really hard to explain. Like, I don't think it's a bad movie. I did still enjoy the movie and watching it, and with a crowd, especially we were able to see it with a crowd that was like really excited for it and very much into it, which definitely heightened, I think, the experience of watching it. But it can't replicate, and it's kind of like it's kind of a bummer because I don't think I ever thought it would either. It's kind of because it going into it, but I guess for some reason, I know there's some new songs written for it, some original songs, um, just out of, I guess maybe they found a way to kind of spice it up a little bit, and they kind of do that a little bit with a little more of the leaning into the Wizard of Oz stuff, which in some ways I think which I think in some ways hurts the movie, um, how much it kind of dips into the Wizard of Oz stuff and the Dorothy stuff, even though it doesn't actually do it. It distracts a lot from a lot of the plot. There's a lot of little plot points going on that I don't think get the attention that they probably deserved at the cost of that. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's still a go see it for me. I mean, it's still a go check it out. It's still, this time of year in theaters, like it's one of your best shots at seeing like a movie for the big screen, a spectacle. There's only a couple more of these kinds of movie this year coming to theaters. So, I mean, it's definitely, I think, something still to still experience on a big screen with an audience. Especially if you love Wicked, if you love Wicked, the first film, and I'm sure you're gonna at least like this, if not love it. Most of the people that we saw it with were loving it. But I don't know. I think it's a big challenge to kind of do more than I think what it can really do based on the source material, especially in that second half of the play and of the story. It's just not as exciting and it's just not as thrilling and um out there as the first film was and that first part of the story is. Um yeah, I mean, I definitely
I'm not.
it's weird. Like it's still like a movie that I feel like crowds. I think it's gonna do fine. Like
Oh yeah, isn't it
it's
tracking to have like a great
it's
opening
nowhere.
weekend?
Yeah, and everything we're saying is not like again. I think we both have said like we both still like the movie. It's just I think it's kind of like this inverse thing where I think Wicked coming out has kind of reignited a love for this property that this film definitely will benefit from, and I think this film will have a really high audience score. Even the critic stuff is still positive. It's kind of in line with what we're saying that it just doesn't reach the heights of the prior film. But if there's something that attracted you to this film, this franchise, the play, I mean, you're gonna go see this movie still, and you're probably gonna really enjoy it still.
Aisha Harris is a critic who writes for NPR, and I feel like she's written for like Entertainment Weekly too, maybe.
Uh-huh.
But I just saw her reviewed. The headline is "Wicked for Good. This all could have been just one good movie."
And that's what a lot of people say too. It's like,
Uh,
the fact that it's weird though, because like it does feel like there's so much going on in this movie that
Like there's too much to have put in one movie and have it be satisfying.
yeah, like in this half of it, like I don't
Yeah.
know, it's like if some of that was cut down without trying to bloat out other areas, like specifically the Wizard of Oz stuff, to kind of like be like it's Dorothy or it's
no.
the house, like, and I know that's there in the source material, but I just feel like it's also like I don't know. I've seen a lot of people saying that, and I don't know if I totally agree with it, but it makes me curious that like if you made one super tight you know, 2.5 hour, 2 hour, 40 minute film, if that would have what that would have looked like.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do see a lot of people having that feeling or that comment that, it does feel like it's a weird feeling because there's a lot going on in this movie, but it does feel like there are some elements of those plot points that just spin too long.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, couldn't more time have been spent with like I don't know, with whatever element. I'm struggling to pick one that I found the most interesting, but like, the Bach Nessa stuff or like the which kind of plays weird, a little weird to me in the film, because it all just moves so quickly, which I guess is a positive that I don't feel like the movie felt long or anything like that. Like I think it moves
Hmm.
just as fast as the first film because of how much is going on. Um, but yeah, that is an interesting criticism. I mean, I'd be curious like what that movie would look like or what that film could have been.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that said, I mean, I'm looking forward to people really enjoying going to the movies to see it, and I'm sure it's going to have some awesome opening weekend, and I hope it does. So, um, yeah, I don't know, but yeah, the performances were still great. I mean, Ariana Grande I thought was just really really special. I mean, they're both great, like Ronald said, but I think maybe like Cynthia kind of was a little stronger in the first film, and I think that it's the other way around this time. I think she's just like really good in it.
I mean, that feels right in a sense
Yeah,
for the arc of the characters and everything to say that the where one of them has most of the kind of momentum of the story and I mean I don't know the intimate details of like how it maps onto or kind of twists the events of Wizard of Oz, so I don't know all of that plot stuff, but I know that it's like its own take on things and it's kind of
yeah,
an alternate look at all that stuff. So
definitely.
um, at any rate, you said, Ronald, you'd like to see them do something else together, and I was thinking, what buddy flick could Schmovie Studios maybe get the rights to remake with Cynthia Erivo and and Ariana Grande? My first thought was Tango and Cash, but then I thought, you mentioned Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Could we redo
Mm.
that with Cynthia and Ariana? And who would you cast as Butch, and who would you cast as the Sundance Kid? Maybe we need to have
Mm.
an off mic meeting about this. But I didn't know, Ronald, what buddy comedy or buddy movie do you think that they should, movie studios should get on top of this?
Hmm. Maybe 48 hours.
Oh,
48 hours. Natural born killers.
oh, interesting.
Yeah, like,
They could play with that kind of couple energy that they seem to have on the
yeah.
press trail. They can like really
I
take that
mean, she
forward. I love it.
protected her from this weird dude that's known for just hugging people. Like,
She adjusted her necklace when it wasn't really that crooked.
yeah.
In one clip that I saw.
She spun it so many times. I was like, her neck isn't.
I think it went full circle to being exactly like it was
Yeah,
when
I was
it
Yeah.
afraid she was
started.
going to unscrew her head too, Ronald. I was like, wait a minute, it might pop off.
Slow down there.
You know, it'd be crazy if she did that and Ariana Grande went, "Are you attempting a factory reset? Are you attempting a factory reset?" It's like, what the fuck is going on?
She was doing it. It's like me trying to lock like a hair product bottle or a lotion bottle. You know how you can kind of lock the thing so
Yeah,
that the
yeah,
squirt bottle
yeah.
doesn't do, but it's like you don't know what you're doing. You're just kind of fiddling it around. Maybe you have better luck with those. I'm always like, this mechanism is either broken or I just don't know how to work with it.
And then you
Um,
go
but yeah,
fast.
Steve, who can you think of? What what
Uh, I don't know. 48 hours did cross my mind, but I think it's something more like with some comedy too.
cop and a half?
Yeah, cop and maybe Stir Crazy.
Oh,
Mm.
Them kind of wrongfully accused. I don't know.
does that mean? Wait, which one is it where Gene Wilder does blackface? We got to stay away from that one.
Is that that?
I don't think it is though.
No, I don't.
What
I
is
don't.
it? Is Silver Streak is the one where he does
Yeah, this
blackface.
was. I think. Yeah, I don't think it's that. I don't think he does it in Stir Crazy. Wow, Silver Streak he does?
I
Really?
think there's a scene where Richard Pryor is like training Gene Wilder on how to pass for black, and he like there's a full on shoe polish
Let me
moment,
look
I
this
believe.
up. What is this?
Oh
Oh,
man.
Silver Streak. Yep.
He
Damn.
Wow,
says,
I
"We
didn't know that.
bad, we
I did
bad."
not
Like
know
he
that.
shows him how to
Oh,
do the strut and
yeah.
everything. Yeah, it
Damn.
is dated.
Yeah, and
Yikes.
I didn't pick that one, so I'm okay.
It's another one that I think was heavily clipped on the early days of the Comedy
Wow.
Channel. Now that I'm thinking of it, I feel like that moment.
Wow.
Was heavily clipped.
All right.
Heavily clipped.
Heavily clipped.
Well, any other thoughts on Wicked for Good?
No, no. I think that's it. What else? Anything else you guys want to mention?
Nothing I can think of. What about you?
I finished Paul Meyer's book about John Candy, and it was great. I think I mentioned it last
You
time.
did. You did.
I've a great book. Really, I was a little afraid. I'm always afraid with somebody's life story if I'm going to be really interested in like reading about their childhood and stuff because so many
Mm.
people seem to have a very similar childhood. I mean, often it has an impact on somebody, but I'm really interested in like when the person was like doing the stuff I know them for. And I
Yeah.
feel like Paul Myers is really good about making this book about John Candy's comedy career. I mean, he tells the story of his
Yeah.
life, but he also gets to the part where you know what he was about fast and then finds ways to go back in and get more personal where it's related to the part of the story that you're curious about. So I watched the Colin Hanks doc after I read the book, and they really work well together. I said I'd heard this last time, but I can confirm it now that like the information you get in the book, you get much more into the nitty gritty and the details of his career and how things happened the way they did and why they did, whereas the movie is much more almost like an emotional arc that focuses on people that were really close to him watching what these key moments were, and you get flashes of people from his career in the doc. I don't know if either of you guys have watched. I like
I haven't. I
the doc.
haven't.
It's really good. I mean, it's really emotional and it's really sad, and it makes me, he was such an original and so specific, and watching the doc really gets you to remembering just how much like I don't know how much. I mean, for me personally, it was just how much I loved this guy. How much this guy
Mm.
was just such a likable on-screen presence and so funny, and so like self-effacing and kind of low key,
Yeah.
and like has this really funny energy and like just seems like a real one, and also a real character in a lot of ways too. And then the fact that he was 42 or 43 when he died makes me feel
Yeah.
like an old man, like
No.
um, but so the book in tandem with the movie, I guess I'm recommending that 1-2 punch. But I also think if people just want to see the movie and kind of have the, that connection and that sadness when you realize that here was a guy who had kind of demons that haunted him. I won't give away too much of like what his personal story was because that's sort of part of the attraction of it is getting that portrait. But you see how much his work really did speak to things he was at his core, which was
Yeah.
like kind and sensitive and caring and also a little bit haunted, something
Mm.
something else there too that could be tapped into. That was very emotional for me and like unexpectedly so to the point where when I was reading the book, normally when I'm reading a book, I'm kind of happy to be rounding the lap of the end of the book. Oh, I conquered this book. I finished another one. I've got a stack I want to read.
Yeah.
Um, when I can't finish a book, it's like the book conquered me. But this book was reading like butter. Paul Meyer's prose is just really crisp and really like direct, but it's also very clever when when he needs to construct an interesting connection or branch out and do something. But I was realizing my excitement to get to the end of a book was being a little bit contradicted by how sad I was that John Candy's about to die. Like you're
Yeah.
reading the book,
Mm.
getting this intimate feeling about him, and then you're like one chapter away and you flip ahead and you see there's a chapter called Mourning, and then there's a chapter called The Legacy, and it's like, oh, like I'm there. And of course it feels sudden
Brutal.
because it's not like anybody was planning for it. His life didn't lead up to some crescendo and then he was done. It was like he was in the
Yeah.
middle of shooting a movie.
Mm.
There wasn't even a movie he was that happy to be doing, and they just found him on the sitting on his bed like he'd started to get ready for the day, So anyway,
Wow.
very sad in that sense, and very emotional, and very connected, I think, to a time and an era of movies that it did make me think. Okay, I'm going to have to check out one of these that I haven't seen a million times. Like I've seen Planes, Trains, and Automobiles plenty of times. That might still be the best one to watch. But a movie that I've never seen, and this might seem shocking, but I've never seen Uncle Buck.
I knew you were going to say that, John. I knew it.
Yeah, well, I would watch Uncle Buck. That was another one
Dude.
that was excerpted on Comedy Channel. They played that interrogation scene at the
Really
table
good.
where John Candy's answering questions real fast for Macaulay
Yeah.
Culkin.
I love that movie
It's a great
so much.
movie, man.
It's
It's a
either
great
Planes,
movie.
Trains, or Uncle Buck for me. Like it's
Uh,
Uncle Buck is like it's an all-timer for me. That movie, I watch that regularly.
Who's Harry Crumb is up there for me too,
It's
man.
great.
I
It's
enjoyed that
great.
one. I enjoyed that one
It's
too.
great.
Yeah, it's up there for me.
But yeah, I
Uh,
gotta catch that doc. I've been meaning to watch that.
Also, the cartoon Camp Candy. I don't know if you were
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Camp Candy.
for
Had a
sure.
great theme. Yeah, baked into our lives like that, man.
Hmm.
His
Yeah,
loss was
another
huge. I
name.
remember crying as a younger guy hearing about him. I was like, what? Like, he seemed so young and so like he was one of those guys that really had crossover appeal.
Yeah.
Everybody loved him, man. Everybody loved John Candy.
Right, like comedy nerds and comedy fans loved him
Yeah,
and idolized him, and then like the average moviegoer adored him. Like he
yeah,
was like a reliable like scene stealer, I
yeah,
guess is the word I'm
yeah.
looking for.
Hmm. All right. Just making sure I got that on my watch list. Um, all right. Well, I think that's an episode. Yes.
Yes, I believe
Okay.
so.
So
Yes.
Hardboiled, Ronald's pick for required viewing in a couple weeks. We'll be off next week for the Thanksgiving holiday. And movieshmovie.com is the website if you want to go listen to past episodes. YouTube.com/movieshmovie podcast. If you want to subscribe to the video channel there, you can do that for the whole episode, for shorts, for audio only. If you want to just click play and just listen, you can do that anywhere. But you can also do it all on YouTube if you like. If you subscribe there, please hit the little bell so you get notifications on all your devices of when a new episode comes out. Again, we will be back in 2 weeks, and we'll be talking about a lot, I think, because Stranger Things will have come out, and hopefully we'll all watch that.
Yeah.
At least the first selection of episodes. But yeah, thank you so much for listening, and as always, you made our day. Thanks.
Bye.